All right, guys, welcome back to Heel Report, which is a part of TarHeels247.com. I'm Jacob Turner. He's Andrew Jones joining me for a quick UNC basketball drop. This one's going to be coming out on Monday morning, but we are recording this on Sunday night, full disclosure, here ahead of Carolina's Tuesday night matchup in Rupp Arena against Kentucky. And AJ, before we dive into it, man, we're going to talk about maybe two of the more concerning trends about North Carolina so far this year, particularly against the quality opponents they played in Michigan State and Kansas. And then we're going to look ahead to Kentucky a little bit later on in this one, man. But how you feeling today? I know I'm a little tired, man. At 3 a.m. last night, I know you were even later. It was a late night after North Carolina's unfortunate loss to the Wolfpack, we'll call it. How you feeling?
I've finished my work a little after 6 this morning. Maybe 3 hours sleep once I finally fell asleep. Up and
5, so I was feeling pretty good about it.
Up and rocking it today, trying to have as many conversations as I can to get information about a lot of different things. There used to be a time when the final football game would be played and you could wake up the next day and go,
Yeah, that was
it's well, I don't want to get into
back in the day. We can call that back in the day now.
Back in the day. And you can't do it now because chaos will ensue.
Yeah.
All kinds of chaos. And so I've done it's been a very football heavy day. Mm-hmm. And I've spent some time on Kentucky, and which we're going to talk about now. And it's a nice diversion to shift over to basketball. And there's nothing like arguably the two best programs of all time meeting Tuesday night. So that's exciting. I'm looking forward to that, getting more intel on the heels. But yeah, it's tired, busy time of year. But it beats having a real job because it's a job. It's a grind. But I love the grind as you love the grind. And and I like the uncertainty of some of the chaos that's coming. I think that's fun. It makes it exciting, keeps you on your toes. And I would think that fans pay attention a lot more now when the season ends than they used to. So I think that's good. It's good for business and it's good for the sport. There's a lot of other stuff going on in the sport that I'm paying attention to. I'm following all this insanity in Oxford, Mississippi.
Yeah, what a weird saga that is.
I wouldn't hire that guy for all the tea in China, man.
He's a hell of a football coach, but it's like, what are we doing here, man?
They get a lot of diamonds in Africa, in the soil in Africa, right? I wouldn't get all the mined diamonds from Africa to hire him.
Did you see? I'm going off track here, but I just want to ask you: If you saw the Ole Miss reporter that
Yeah, I saw that.
It was funny. I was on Twitter before we hopped on here, and I was scrolling, and there was a lot. They were doing like a live stream podcast, had like 200,000 people watching it at the time. I was like, is that what it takes for views nowadays? You just go get head coach, I guess.
Look, we've had our own drama here too, and
true, yeah.
I don't think the drama's over. And basketball is drama as well. Carolina basketball tugs at the heartstrings. I call it the Church of Carolina basketball for a reason. And going up against Kentucky, coming off a loss to Michigan State, this is a big time game. This is a big time situation. It's a big time opportunity. It's a big time opponent. And we need to have a big time conversation about them because they have a chance to really, really help themselves Tuesday night, really help themselves. And then you have Georgetown coming in next, Saturday or Sunday?
I think it's Sunday. I think it's Sunday at 5, I believe.
Yeah, Sunday. And Georgetown slipped up a little bit. Everybody has slipped up basically this past week, without the exception of a few teams. So this is a huge opportunity for the Tar Heels, but they're going to have to clean some stuff up, not just for Tuesday, not just for next Sunday, but for the next 3.5 months, because this team still, I believe, in my opinion, has a chance to do a lot of significant things, but not as much so if they don't do two things better that we're going to address. Shoot the ball better from the perimeter. And they have got to be more productive on their offensive rebounds. They've got to get a higher percentage of second chance points than they're getting right now. It's a bad number, and it needs to become a solid number for this team to be a better club. For them to advance, when it comes time to advance, you've got to get those points because those missed opportunities have got to be made up somewhere else. And if you're missing threes, and if you're not capitalizing on second chance opportunities, it puts a lot more pressure to be highly efficient in half court offense. And that's something this team did not do well against Michigan State.
Yeah, that's something we spoke a lot about in our Three Things post-game pod after that Michigan State game. Go watch that one after this one if you haven't already. But let's dive deeper into the three-point shooting. Carolina shooting 31.8% from three so far this year. If you dive into Carolina's quality opponents that they've played in Kansas and Michigan State, shot just 30% against Kansas, 17% against Michigan State, which was a season low. I think it's a pretty it's a pretty obvious statement to say that, Carolina's going to have to shoot better that not only on Tuesday night, but moving forward into the rest of the season, because they have quality opponents that they're going to play, especially when they dive into ACC. So if Carolina wants to get to the level that I still think this team can, and maybe, reach some of the goals that I think this team has, that is one glaring stat that's going to have to improve. And I think we've both been a little bit surprised about it. We talked a lot in the offseason about this team, at least on paper, being a better three-point shooting team. You look at some of the guys that they brought in to improve on that. Luka Bogovac kind of touted as that. Jaron Stevenson touted as that. Kyan Evans, good three-point shooter from Colorado State. Jonathan Powell as well had a really good freshman season at West Virginia. Those four guys, we were looking at some stats, have combined to shoot just 30.5% from three so far this season, which is below the team's average. So there's a lot of little metrics and things you can point at, AJ, but the three-point shooting has not been good enough. And there's a lot of Carolina fans out there as well that this is the most hot topic of debate among. Yeah. So what do you make of Carolina's three-point shooting this year? Because I also think they've missed good shots too. It's not like they've just missed very contested shots. They're not getting open threes. It's been a little bit of both, but I can think of many examples of Carolina just missing shots that they need to make from outside the perimeter. So what do you make of the concerning trend from beyond the arc so far?
I do think at times perimeter shooting can be a little bit like hitting in baseball, where it ebbs and flows. And sometimes guys get, hitting is contagious, they say. So is slumping. And sometimes that happens. Although the difference is that when you're hitting a baseball, you've got another person with different skills trying to get you to not hit it. In basketball, the rim is not your enemy. The rim is not trying to keep you from having the ball go through it. So I think part of it is just the fact that guys are missing. I think the other day, being courtside of the baseline in Fort Myers, I thought that some guys like Kyan Evans pressing a little bit when he shoots three, which is why I know that his body would contort a little bit to his elbow would kind of point toward the basket a little bit, which is not the form that you want when you're shooting a perimeter shot or any kind of shot. And I also think that sometimes the threes they get in the half court, more stagnant, lack of movement sets are different than the more free-flowing, fluid, swing the ball around the perimeter, catch and shoot threes. It's a different flow. It's a little bit of a different shot. This team has shown that in the swing mode, they shoot better from the perimeter than in the more stagnant offensive, get a three late in a set kind of mode. I think that they get some pretty good ones when they have inbound plays on their side of the court, especially on the baseline. They've been able to get some good threes there, but they don't knock them down. So they are missing a lot of good shots, but they're also, the degree of difficulty is a little bit greater with a lot of the threes that they're getting in the half court offense. And I was very strong the other day when I said, I think this team needs to go a lot more freelance in motion. I've talked to a lot of people about it since then. A lot of people have reached out. I've talked to other media about it. Fans, there are people that reach out to me and talk Carolina basketball a lot who used to be in the program, and they agree. They think that that's the way this team should play because it will take advantage of the skills more. And I think sometimes they get three happy. Mm-hmm. They go through stretches where it's just bunches of threes.
Michigan State, prime example, Michigan State.
Yeah, well, and the weird thing is that they didn't do that early. They went inside early against Michigan State. A lot of times they shoot too many threes early and Hubert gets ticked off, and the ball's on the perimeter too much. It's one of the reasons they have a lot of early turnovers. And then they clean it up. They go inside more, not as many turnovers in the second half, not as many three-point attempts. They come later on, and they're a more efficient team. So there's still very much a work in progress. These things, I think, will get worked out some, but guys also have to knock down shots. You were 1,000% right the other day when you referenced Roy, when Roy used to say, you got to have the toughness to knock down an open shot. Mm-hmm. You just got to knock it down because it's so mental. That's kind of the mental toughness is what he's talking about. Guys have to be tough and start knocking down some of these shots. They're going to need them in Rupp Arena. Yeah. If they go 4 for 23 in Rupp Arena, they are not winning that game, and they can get run out of the building. And the narrative on this team and the mood and the vibe, from the fan base is going to be ugly if they get run out Tuesday night, because I think a lot of people are on the fence with some things. And that's the kind of thing that puts them on the wrong side of the fence. I don't think that's a very steep climb for a lot of people right now.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right about that. Yeah, a win on Tuesday night would do a lot for this team, obviously, moving forward, but it by no means is it going to be easy. And two things I want to hit on, too. You mentioned Kyan Evans kind of contorting his shot. One of the guys that I've seen, Luka Bogovac, in a way, has one of the things I noticed about his jump shot, and I think we've talked about this before, is very quick release with like a lack of follow through. I've seen that at times in a lot of the shots that he's missed this year. So I went back and I was like, okay, let me go look at some of his highlights from European League. Like maybe that's just how he shoots. So maybe that's just he's a quick release guy. Like he doesn't have much follow through. No, that's not really been the case. You go look at his highlights from overseas. I mean, he's a guy that he has a very pretty shot, but there's been a lot of shots that he's taken so far this year where it's almost like he just throws it up like that. There's no real kind of follow through to the basket. And again, I don't think it's a coincidence that he hasn't maybe shot as well from three so far this year than that we've expected. So he's another guy in that regard that it doesn't really feel like he's maybe playing too quickly, but it just feels like getting back to basics, slowing down a little bit and just getting back to that shooting form, because we all know, I mean, if you play basketball at any level, you know how important a follow through is. And this is not me trying to sit here to tell Luka how to shoot a 3-point shot, but it's just another example of what you're talking about there, where it's like, when it leaves his hands at times with that quick release and lack of follow through, I don't have a lot of belief that it's going in when it's like that. And most of the time it has.
It's a skill. Skills have to be done certain ways. If you think a great pool shark is going to suddenly start shooting and hitting the ball a different kind of way, it doesn't happen like that. I would guess what you found out was the quicker follow through, or he pulls back a little quicker, are the more contested shots.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, that's an area he's still adjusting. I was told when he arrived, he struggled for a while adjusting to the length and speed of the closeouts on the perimeter, because if you go look at the Adriatic League, guys weren't closing out the way they defend a lot differently here than they did over there. And we see that sometimes with his drives. His instincts are saying, oh, I'm getting to the rim here. Suddenly there's help defense and he struggles with it. He'll stop the drive. He'll pick up his dribble and he'll try to find somebody and everything just stalls, and he doesn't explode to the basket because he's still learning all this stuff. I think a big part of the adjustment is the closeout. Now, I was also told that he had gotten a lot better and had really adapted pretty quickly, but he did it in practice. Now he has to do it in games. And he's been really open about, hey man, the games are different than practice. So the practice is great to get you to the point where you can adapt and assimilate in games. The practice is that step. It's that walking before the games are running. So he's doing that now. And that's why it's actually a good thing that he keeps shooting. Shooters need to shoot. He's a shooter. Absolutely. He's a scorer. So he needs to keep shooting. And every time he takes a jump shot that is remotely challenged, it's going to make him better 100 jump shots from now, 50 jump shots from now. So that's something that you have to live with as he continues that process. But I don't think he's going to be that much of a concern. I think he's the one guy right now who's missing that when it goes up, I still think it's going in.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Kyan, sometimes, if I watch Kyan in warm-ups like I've done a couple of times, it's gorgeous. But he's also not contorting in warm-ups. He's not just, hey, here's my jump shot now in warm-ups with nobody on me, nobody watching, except that old guy over there on the baseline. So he needs to knock some down. We said it after St. Bonaventure. He saw a couple go down, and he needs to see him go down more. He needs to have like he needs to have a game where like 5 or 6 go down to sort of shake a lot of crap off. And that would certainly be big if that's Tuesday night, but maybe if something like that happens, he's going to think less when he attempts his threes. He's not going to have thought destruction. Thought destruction in basketball will kill you.
Oh, yeah,
it'll destroy your ability to put the ball in the basket because it ruins the refined skill that these guys have.
So I think we can mark the 3-point shooting. This is kind of how I feel about it. Is concerning trend maybe right now, especially against the quality opponents that Carolina's played. But I think we're both in agreement where it does feel like it is something, especially the personnel that Carolina has, that should improve as the season goes on. And if from a Carolina's perspective, you would hope it improves sooner rather than later. And Tuesday night would be an absolutely fantastic time for the 3-point shooting to improve. And I think it needs to improve, like you mentioned, if Carolina's going to have any chance of winning in Rupp Arena against Kentucky. So let's talk about second chance points. That's the second thing we're going to hit on. Then we'll look ahead to Kentucky a little bit. Despite all of these things, these two things we're talking about it is in some ways kind of a preview of what Carolina needs to do against Kentucky, not only against them, but moving forward into the rest of the season. But we'll kind of take some time to look at a little bit more into them in a second. Second chance points. I mentioned earlier, 12 second chance points on 28 offensive boards against Michigan State in Kansas. Not good numbers. Numbers once again that need to be better as Carolina dives deeper into this season. And as I've mentioned with the 3-point shooting, it would be great if those numbers improve on Tuesday night. So why do you think that trend has emerged against the two quality opponents that Carolina's played this season? I think one thing we talked about Michigan State, AG, was the physicality in which they played with down low. Kansas maybe not so much, but I know Carolina did struggle against them as well with second chance points. What do you think is going on with that trend, and why do you think we've seen that against better teams this season?
Kansas still had physicality and length, and I think it's part of it. You got to get the rebounds first, so they're getting some rebounds. They're doing a pretty solid job rebounding a good percentage of their missed shots, but you've got to do something with them. They're added possessions. Every offensive rebound is an extra possession. And if you score at a fairly high rate on those extra possessions, it's a massive advantage. It's like in football. If you get a turnover inside the 40, you got to get points, right? Mm-hmm. You can't come away empty. You got to get points. Mm-hmm. And it's a lost opportunity. It's like, well, the turnover never really happened. So the Kansas was 16 offensive rebounds, 6 boards. Michigan State was 12 and 6. It was different, the vantage point watching Kansas, because where we sit at the Smith Center. Against Michigan State, they just get bodied. And they weren't really good going up strong. A couple of the looks they got, one of them was a tip out to Cayenne where Hubert was trying to call play. Cayenne he shouldn't have just let him play on that. And he hesitated for a second. It allowed help defense to come in, and he drove the lane. And I don't believe he scored on that.
I don't think so.
It's a getting stuff off problem where sometimes Caleb has trouble getting the ball to the rim when he's in the paint, whether it's from a drive where he goes 1-on-3 or sometimes on some putbacks. Sometimes it's just the ball not going in, and it's just a little bit more challenge when there's more length and bigger bodies and more of them. And the other day against Michigan State, you're playing against a team that practices every year without a freaking rim.
It's like Roy Williams right there.
Yeah, no rim, shoulder pads, go get the ball. I mean, that's like practice. Tom Izzo holds one of those practices. So you got to kind of dig down and find a little more brawn to play through contact and draw the foul, and then you can get some points at the free throw line. So you accomplish an offensive rebound, draw a foul, and then you can still get some points at the free throw line. So that's something that needs to be a point of emphasis moving forward. As I said after St. Bonaventure, this team is not going to get beefier, but they can get nastier. I thought there were stretches against Michigan State where they played with the appropriate kind of nastiness. Mm-hmm. And they played well. But then when the nastiness dips, they don't have other things to sort of make up for it against a club that is 100% coat of armor brawn for 40 minutes.
Yeah.
And Kentucky's probably going to be a little bit more skill-oriented, but at home, fired up and desperate to win, they're going to add some of that steel on Tuesday night. So the Heels are going to be challenged on offensive rebounds. Plus, Kentucky's got a ton of length.
Yeah. It's a big thing on Tuesday. There's no doubt about it. I think you said it in your column after the Michigan State loss, too, about just what you said there of Carolina. Yeah, they did play some bully ball at times and kind of match Michigan State's physicality, but one of the big takeaways that Carolina would have learned for that game is that bully ball has to be sustained for 40 minutes when you're playing a good team like Michigan State, who kind of prides itself on that. So, yeah, I think that's another lesson to be learned, that you have to match that physicality and keep that physicality against quality opponents for the entire game. And again, that's a pretty obvious statement when you look at basketball. It's not rocket science in a lot of ways. But when you play these better teams, you're going to have more length, you're going to have more size, you're going to have more athleticism, you're going to have more physicality. And I think Carolina can expect to see the same thing on Tuesday night. You mentioned
Let me jump in real fast.
Go ahead.
A way around this, and this can connect the 2 points that we're talking about here. The easiest 3-pointer to hit is one that you catch and step into. Because if you think about it, if you ever go to the Dean Dome early and there's a student manager out there working with a player, the student manager is under the basket, rebound the ball, kick it to a guy in the perimeter and shoots. You're catching the ball already squared and you go up and shoot. So if you get those off of offensive rebounds, I think the awareness of where teammates are in those situations, you get one out to Luka where he can step into it, or Kyan can step into it, Jaren, whoever. Those are high percentage 3-point shots. And that's a way to help that number and also increase your second chance points. Because if you get an offensive rebound and you kick it out to Jonathan Powell in the corner, because he loves the corner three, and he sinks it, that's 3 second chance points right there. I think they need to be more aware of their surroundings on some of those. You don't have to get it and have to claw and fight your way back up. There are other options out there, and I think that's something they need to try more of, do more of moving forward.
I want to throw this in before we move on to Kentucky, just defense. I want to talk about that for just a quick second. I thought one of the biggest things that turned the game around for North Carolina, particularly the Kansas win, was their defense to start the second half. It felt like the defense kind of got Carolina going a little bit. It kind of got the motor revving up a little bit. It allowed them to get out and transition a little bit more, sped them up, when in turn sped Kansas up. And it felt like that kind of led to Carolina's energy and better play in the second half, was what they did on the defensive end against quality opponents. But really just this whole season, I don't know if I've been disappointed with Carolina as a defensive team at times, but I think they can be better. I thought against Navy, they were poor for big chunks of that game defensively. What have you made of Carolina's defense so far this season, not only against the likes of Michigan State and Kansas, but just kind of the whole sample size that we've had so far?
I think at times it's been really, really good. Of course, with Seth, he was there for Kansas, and
that helps.
I think he was sort of the flint that got that thing sparked.
They really could have used him against Michigan State.
Well, he would have been on Fears, and he would have kept Fears from getting in the lane. I thought the defense on Michigan State's guards in the second half was poor. How many times do they just get in the lane and shoot 16-footers? Yeah. And you can't do that. I also think Carolina wore down, as I talked about that as well. He thought that Carolina wore down. But yeah, I think this is a pretty good defensive team. Now, Hubert was really grasping hard onto the numbers the other day, saying, well, we're a top 10 team in the country in defensive field goal percentage. They were actually number 2. You know, number 1 was Duke. Duke and Carolina, the top 2 teams in the country in defensive field goal percentage. Now, I think in Carolina's case, it's a great number. And, I love numbers, and numbers don't lie. But I do think it was a product of some of the competition, although everybody's playing some poor competition at this time of year. And just teams missing shots. I don't think sometimes it had anything to do with Carolina, just guys missing shots. Like some of Carolina's shots they miss aren't because of the opponent. They're just missing some shots. But it all evens out over time. I do think it's a pretty good defensive team. I think it could be a very good defensive team that has to be consistent. And if they're going to be a club that doesn't shoot threes to the level that we're talking about, like that they need to be maybe in the 36.5 to 37% range, which I think was the expectation coming in internally. And if they aren't as productive on second chance points, well, one way to make up for it is to defend your rear end off, create some transition baskets off your defense, and just limit the quality of looks. So if you have to win a game by holding someone to 32%, you do so. And you may shoot 42, but if they shoot 32 and everything else is even, you're going to win the game. So I think this team needs to hang its hat on defense a little bit more. I do like that at times Hubert hasn't switched. Sometimes I think he switches too much. I think switching too much can give you sort of a soft mentality. I'm not saying they're soft. I said it can do that. I'm not saying it's doing it with this team. I do think that they have good enough dudes, especially when Seth is healthy. They have guys that can get around screen. They can get over, under quickly, over physically. Jonathan Powell is one of those guys. Seth is one of those guys. I think Kyan, even though he's thin and he's smallish in a lot of ways, if you want him going under the screen, I think he's quick and can do that without losing his man. You don't need to switch. There were times the other day where the opponents, especially St. Bonaventure, switched on them a few times. Kyan didn't really recognize the switch, and there were mistakes. There's no need for it. especially if you could switch back quickly. Sometimes I think Carolina takes a little too long to switch back. If you and the guy you switch with are kind of nearby and the ball is sort of stopped a little bit, it could become a little stagnant. You can just really easily switch back.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a super easy thing to do, but it can be done, especially for guys at this level. So I'm still on the fence about them defensively. I need to see them against more good teams. They're going to face two very different teams this week.
Yeah.
And they'll challenge them very differently defensively, and that's what we need to see. I'm not going to make any proclamations at all about this club for a while because this is a big week. It's a big atmosphere. It's a big-time opponent. I do think Kentucky is better than some people think. There's some really good parts over there. I'm sure that the jury's out on Mark Pope and probably will be for a while. I kind of like the way his team plays, especially with the talent he has. And then they're going to face Ed Cooley and 600 lunch pails in Georgetown.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a tremendous opportunity for Carolina to learn and grow. To me, this week is about learning and growing, but you got to pick up at least one win. You've got to beat Georgetown at home. You got to hold serve at home and be competitive at Kentucky. I think if they do that and they grow and they get better for the experience, this is not going to be a lost week. If they lose twice, it's a lost week.
Mm-hmm.
And the heat will be on. So, and he could be on Tuesday night anyway, because that's kind of the way things are nowadays. But I'm really, really, really excited about being at Rupp Arena. I have not been to Rupp Arena in a while, so I'm excited about going back and seeing this. I'm excited about Georgetown coming in. Finally, a second. They haven't had two good non-conference opponents come in the same season very often before, so this is cool that they're coming in. And I'm looking forward to seeing what this club's about. You and I will do a podcast of Three Things next Sunday night, probably after the Georgetown game, and we'll have these two games now, all that information and intel to talk about, and we're going to learn a lot more about this club without Seth. And I think it's also a great opportunity. I'll add this one last thing. When Seth went down, you and I talked about how we think it's important that when Seth comes back, he enhances where they are. Mm-hmm. He adds to it instead of trying to lift them up to be where they were when he went down. I don't think right now it would be enhancing. It would be lifting up. This week is an opportunity to get them to a point that when Seth comes back, he's enhancing a club that's playing well and doing a lot of good stuff instead of filling a massive need and lifting them up some, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So we'll know a lot of that by this time next Sunday.
Yeah, it is a big week. There's no doubt about it. And I'm looking forward to seeing what Carolina can do on Tuesday. And as you mentioned, what they can do on Sunday against a good Georgetown team as well. But just focusing on, what do you think the keys to victory for Carolina on Tuesday? I think, as we've talked about, need to shoot better from three, improving that second chance point. I think we've talked about defense on here. Carolina being a pretty good defensive team, but, playing, I think defense has to be a point of emphasis, obviously, on Tuesday night as well. And Carolina needs to be better than they were in stretches against Michigan State on Thanksgiving night. So what are some of the things you're going to be looking for when Carolina goes into a challenging Rupp Arena environment that you can be on your A game in that place, AJ, and still lose basketball games? We've seen it so many times with so many different opponents.
It's a must-win game for Kentucky.
Yeah, that's a good point, especially at home. Yeah.
I think there's a similarity for Kentucky approaching this game as there was for Carolina approaching the Kansas game.
Yeah, exactly. You're right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I believe that they're going to get everything Kentucky has. So they have to play exceptionally well to win this game. And it's going to be a true road game, a loud, massive building like theirs. Their buildings are the same size, basically. And they've renovated, so they've scaled down some of the seating there. It'll be interesting to see what the renovations look like because I haven't been in there since they did that.
When's the last time you were there? That would have been what?
14.
Yeah. Okay.
10 years, 11 years.
Wow, it has been that long since they played.
Yeah. The last time I was there was the 14-15 season. I'm pretty sure it was 14-15 season.
I think so. I know remember they played,
because they were playing, they stopped playing the home and home because of the CBS Sports Classic.
Yes. And so they played them there in what, 2012 maybe?
2012 they played them there.
Late 2011, 2012. Yeah, the John Henson, I think it was Anthony Davis blocked John Henson shot. I think that's what it was.
That was 2011. That was 2011, the baseline. That's the other time I covered a game there.
I have very vivid memories of that game for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, that game that was the collision course.
Yeah.
They were going to play again. Mm-hmm. And then Creighton happened.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you're right.
Creighton and Kendall Marshall's injury happened.
Yeah, it was the same season. Yeah.
John would have really appreciated the opportunity to go up against Anthony Davis again. That was the one great freshman team that Calipari had there. But Carolina was a veteran team, and they were just as good, if not better.
I just remember that block so vividly because it was like unbelievable. Because John Henson was like the longest player I'd ever seen in my life at that point in my life.
Yeah.
You know, it's like in Carolina, and he gets his shot blocked. It's like, how does that happen?
And that was his shot. That was a money shot for him too.
I wonder what Anthony Davis is doing now. By the way, I don't know. I don't know what happened to him. Right?
Yeah, Unibrow probably made a couple dollars by now, right?
Yeah, I don't know what happened to him. And
I love this game. I wish they would play it home and Kansas home and do some UCLA stuff. Although UCLA is kind of not what they were.
Yeah,
I think Carolina, Duke, Kansas, and Kentucky are sort of the four. UConn is making a case, but they're not there yet.
Indiana would be cool too, but Indiana's not what it used to be. I just remember the game back in 05
a couple years ago.
Cool. 05 was kind of a cool spectacle when they played it with Sean May. Kind of homecoming was kind of a cool game. I guess that would have been late 04 probably when they played.
Indiana still had the cachet of back then, and it doesn't have that as much anymore. So, but they stopped playing home and home because of the CBS Sports Classic series. So
shame.
Yeah, I like it, and this is happening because of the ACC SEC Challenge. They should probably bring Kentucky to Chapel Hill next year.
We're already at that point in the season. I guess it is pretty early in the year. I feel like that kind of crept up on it.
We're in December. It's December.
That's true. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah,
it's December, man. They play a conference game in less than a month.
Yeah, that's creeping up fast.
It's here. That's why. Okay, we're through the first month. Now, some of these things have got to really start coming together. You know, Luka's adaptation period is his period of adapting to the longer and quicker closeouts. Okay, you got to get it going here. You know, he's getting compensated well. That's his job to come here and do that. He's got to start figuring that out. And I mean, I think Luka's done a lot of really good stuff. And I know I'm going way the heck off course here again, and we don't want to do this too much, but I'm interested to see how much he's on the ball Tuesday night, because I think that's something we can see more and more of. We did see it even with Kyan on the floor. Luka's their best passer. So it'll be interesting to see that. I want to see how much Hubert just lets these guys play. I'm going to say it until the cows come home, man.
Stop running sets.
This is the kind – these are smart players. Trust them to play the game.
Yeah.
I was told by someone very close to the situation, said, look, man, Hubert checks so many boxes, but he's got to learn to trust those players and just to let them do their thing. Mm-hmm. And that's going to be challenged right now. They are at that fork in the road of trust, full trust, do their thing, and not try to over massage the game.
Mm-hmm. That was one of the glaring things we talked about Luka earlier. I went and kind of watched his highlights from overseas, and that was one of the other glaring things that stood out, man. He's on the ball in about every highlight. I mean, he was a point guard over there, and he looks good doing it too. I know the levels are different, and it's different game over there compared to what it is over here in a lot of ways, but we know he's a pretty good passer. We know he can be a lot better shooter, especially from outside. But I mean, he is a guy that is used to being on the ball. So I do kind of expect, like you, that we will see him more on the ball. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing for North Carolina. And I think it's a good thing for North Carolina. So it'll be interesting to see if it happens on Tuesday or if that's something that takes longer to develop. But I mean, I would be very intrigued to see him on the ball more.
I will close with this. He was on the ball a lot more in the second half against Michigan State, and that's the baseline where I was. You could just see things kind of loosen up on the half court when he was on the top of the. Do
you think that's because of how Kyan was struggling in particular, why he was on the ball more? Or do you think that had not much to do with it?
Kyan isn't really driving in the half court, and he's not shooting well, so defenders backing off a little bit. Mm-hmm. You can't really give Luka room, and he can drive. But there's more of a threat. I think more respect that he's going to hit a shot. I think Luka's living off. I think that there's a real high respect that he's been given by teams defensively. Mm-hmm. So everything kind of opened up a little bit more. And I'm not being critical of Kyan. It's just kind of where things are at this point in time. It's the way Michigan State chose to defend them. It wasn't a massive difference, but it was discernible. Mm-hmm. No doubt about it. And it'll be interesting to see if that's the case with Kentucky. Kentucky's athletic. They're long. They play a lot of guys. They play 11 guys, 11 minutes or more. Now, Jalen Lowe, the Pitt transfer, I don't think he's going to play. He's been injured. So it's 10 guys, but they have a 7-footer. They have a 6'11". They have a 6'9", a 6'8", a couple 6'7s and 6'5s. They're plenty big enough. They're athletic enough. They're long. They have dudes that can shoot threes. When you look at why they lost to Louisville, statistically, they played pretty well in that game. Louisville just can be on a high end. Sometimes just beat you. They had a pretty significant edge at the free throw line. And then the common opponent, Michigan State shot like 50% from three-point range and shot a lot of threes against them. Mm-hmm. I think they shot 22 threes against Kentucky and 9 against Carolina because they were getting it inside.
Yeah.
And then the guards started driving inside, and there's no point in taking the three when you have the lead, when you can get in and pop a floater from 15 feet or a pull-up jumper or something like that, or a dish to a big guy, or throw it up there to Cone Carr and let him ram that thing home with his left hand. Yeah. So this is a significant challenge. I'm looking forward to seeing what Carolina's all about on Tuesday night. They are going to learn from this regardless, but they got to get a win this week, man. They have to win one of these games.
Absolutely. There's no doubt about it.
If they win both,
it would be catastrophic.
And if they win both, then our conversation next week is going to be about Seth coming back and enhancing and not lifting up. Yeah, that's a key for me. That's a key. They've got to be in enhanced mode for Seth, not lift up mode.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. I think you could afford to lose to Kentucky because of just the game in which it is and the challenge it is. Don't go in there and get blown out if you're going to lose. That's be horrible. But you mentioned earlier too, you got to win that Georgetown game at home. I think Carolina, just look at some of the home games they play this year. You got to protect home court, and Carolina needs to be better than they have been in recent years there. So you definitely have to win that one. But make no mistakes about it, man. Tuesday night is going to be a very tricky challenge, not only because of who they're playing, but as we've talked about in this one, it's just in a lot of ways kind of one of those must-win situations for Kentucky, similar to what we saw Carolina go into against Kansas a few weeks back. So, man, it's going to be intriguing. I know you and Noah are going to be there. You guys fly out on early Monday afternoon, Monday morning. So that's why we're recording this one on Sunday.
Yeah, going to miss Hubert's press conference. So Riken will be there.
Nice, man.
He's having a pre-Kentucky presser at 2:00, and my plane takes off about his third question he gets. By the time Rod Baxley asks him a question,
you'll be flying out of RDU. I wonder how far of a flight that is. It can't be that long. A couple hours, maybe?
Well, I'm flying to Louisville and driving.
Okay. What is that? Hour drive? Longer than that?
It's from Louisville to Lexington. It's about an hour.
How far is that?
Hour and 20.
Okay.
It's because it's like $700, $750 to fly into Lexington. Mm-hmm. And it's only like $275 to fly into Louisville. And we do have a budget that we have to stick with.
Yeah, money's not growing trees over here.
So it's a little bit more taxing, I guess, but I don't mind the drive. The problem is there's just so much work to do right now.
Yeah, so much going on signing day.
I can't. Yeah. If we get one of those automatic driving cars where I can just sit there and get a little table, like a little.
You're a Tesla, man. I don't know if I trust it fully, but see if they'll rent you a Tesla in Louisville, Kentucky.
Got a lot of stuff coming up during some travel periods. The portal opens January 2nd, and I'm headed to Dallas that day for SMU basketball.
Yeah, true. This is a tough month. It ramps up. It's like, it ramps up so much with the portal and football season ending like it did.
Flying back Wednesday during signing day.
I know signing day is going to be a challenge. We're very
sure. I'm so
you guys going there.
Signing day was moved up the way it was.
Yeah, no, that one's a tough one, especially with just make it on Thursday, man. I mean, I get it, but if it was Thursday this week, and I know signing day is a national thing, but still, Thursday would be just the perfect day for the UNC media, at least. Gives you a couple of time to get back.
A lot of media. It's right in the middle of the challenge. There's a lot.
That's true. Yeah, it's a big basketball week. These last couple of weeks are big basketball weeks. Yeah, it just all things start ramping up.
We are going to have to do our best on signing day with two people in the air.
Yeah, bear with us, guys. Bear with us because a little grace.
We're still growing. I've tried to tell people it's easier to add than to trim off.
Yes. That's a good way to put it. And I think that's a good place to wrap this one up, AJ, is we'll see what Carolina can do on Tuesday night against Kentucky, 9:30 p.m. tip-off. It just makes me want to puke, but we're not going to talk about that right now, AJ. I know I guess they're on Central Time, so I guess only 8:30 over there, but it still makes me want to puke, the fact that...
Are they in Central?
I thought so. I thought Kentucky was. Are they not? Am I making that up?
Well, it depends.
I just assume because David Sisk lives in Tennessee, is on Central Time, that they're on Central Time, but they very well might not be.
Yeah, but I think David's further west.
He might be. I always forget.
Louisville's Eastern Time. I don't think
both Eastern and Central. I guess it depends where you are. I'm going to confirm this. Right
there's certain lines. I think west of Lexington is Central.
Louisville. Yeah, you're right. Louisville and Lexington are in the Eastern time zone. So once again, I have no idea what I'm talking about. So
yeah, but 9:30 on a Tuesday night is just really stupid.
I'm going to go look at a map after this because where I think Kentucky is not where Kentucky must be, if that makes sense.
Don't tell people that you don't know the map. Come on. I can't.
I know where it is. Like I know it's Tennessee.
I'm going to have to let you go on this. I'm going to have to cut the fat and let you go on this one, guy. No, I'm teasing you. I'm a map guy. And I've always found it fascinating, the whole Central time zone. People don't realize that the panhandle of Florida is in the Central time zone.
Ah, yeah, that's true.
If you drive an hour west of Tallahassee, you're in the Central time zone.
Yeah, it's on me. Tennessee is below Kentucky. For some reason, I was thinking that orientation was a little bit different. So, yeah, they're both, west is on the
and David's like right in that central line, tucked right inside.
Yeah, it's right down the middle of both states. Damn it. I always just assume that David is not as far west as he actually is, but he must be relatively far west. Tennessee's a long state, man.
I've driven through it quite a few times, and it's a long, long drive.
It is, man. Kentucky's close seconds, not much shorter than Tennessee, but I don't know how this turned into a geography lesson. But
I've driven to Kentucky several times before, and if you're going Monday and you have a chance to drive around, the outskirts of Lexington are absolutely gorgeous.
Like rolling hills, is that what it's like?
The horse farms and stuff.
Oh yeah, that's
really amazing.
I'm a sucker for
the Kentucky Horse Farm Park is there, which they have statues of like Man of War and Secretariat and stuff like that. It's just an amazing. If you're going, go check it out.
That sounds right
it's absolutely must see stuff. And the rolling hills and the farms and everything in the outskirts of Lexington are some of the most beautiful things I've ever seen.
I love that kind of stuff, man. I love the rolling hills. Yeah, that's fantastic, man. That's absolutely fantastic.
The fences and everything. It's just really, really cool.
Yeah, I like that. It's like something you could put in a painting. That kind of landscape. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Norman Rockwell have a field day with some of that stuff.
Yeah, he would. Yeah, that's exactly right. You're 100% right about that. We've gotten geography references, my lack of what Central Time and Eastern Time is, and Norman Rockwell references in here. So I think we've hit all three in terms of finding a way to derail this podcast. But I'm going to go study the United States map. And honestly, AJ, it makes me even more pissed off. This game's at 9:30. Can we I want 9 p.m. and after games. Actually, I'm fine with 9. I don't like them, but I will live with a 9 if we have to. I get how TV works. I get people don't get off work till 5 or 6. So you have to do the games at 7 and 9, whatever. But 9:30 is ridiculous. Should never happen. Should be outlawed. U.S. government should outlaw it tomorrow and move the game up to 8:30.
Become king and just decree no more games past 9. I would say 8:45.
Yeah, ideally, yes. I'm trying to beggars can't be choosers here. It could be worse though. It could be 10:30 football game against California. It could be worse. That's as bad as it gets.
Don't remind me of that. I didn't sleep. I didn't sleep for 3 straight Fridays.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, just sit around all day.
Cal, BYU, and Syracuse, and I almost got murdered in Syracuse.
You did almost lose your life.
And didn't sleep for 3 straight Fridays. So
yeah,
I'm not going to sleep Tuesday night.
No, 0% chance.
There's no chance to sleep. I'll get on a plane with black around my eyes.
Yeah, there's no chance. There's absolutely no chance you're going to sleep on Tuesday. Hopefully good performance so you can give you something at least different to talk about after game. We don't want to be having a similar conversation in Michigan State. I would like to avoid that if possible.
Look, I right now with the way football's going, I really would like to see North Carolina fans have a lot to cheer for.
It's been a bad week for North Carolina.
There's a lot of family members and these people who subscribe to our site and watch our videos and stuff like that. Man, I wish you guys would have some stuff to cheer for. It was the Olympic sports came up short.
Yeah, they fell flat. And soccer lost in kind of heartbreaking fashion.
A grueling experience for us, and it's been a grueling experience for you guys.
And then you had Duke go to the ACC title game because SMU goes and lays an egg, and you're like, it's just the icing on the cake this week. Not to mention the Michigan State loss on Thanksgiving night.
Something needs to change with the ACC. I'm not going to go down that path right now. Carolina fan, I want you guys to be happy. I would love to see the Tar Heels get a big win Tuesday night and be a team that Seth comes back and enhances and not has to lift up, because there are a lot of really good people who help us. Obviously, they're part of what we do. And I want these guys to be happy. I want them to be happy.
Yeah.
It's been a kind of a wobbly, rough go for a while for Carolina fans. So
yeah,
it'd be nice to see some things, some order restored, and people just happy, and have us go on our message board and have threats where they're not poisonous arrows fired at you and fired at one another. It's not just us. It's like, it's just people so angry and upset. And I want you to enjoy your fandom. So I think it'd be pretty cool if Carolina could pick up a couple of W's this week and look good doing so.
Yeah, it would be. It would absolutely be. Yeah,
I won't get tagged. I won't get tagged as much on message board posts if that's the
message
case.
boards are always much more fun after a win, and especially just go back to the Kansas game and just positive vibes on social media. Everybody loving everybody. Like, so message boards all positives. You know what I mean? Like that's the world I like to live in.
For me, I had 45,000 last night.
I wonder why.
Unbelievable.
Can't win, man. I'm telling you can't win. Certain you just can't win. So you might as well just.
And I like these kids too. I'm starting to really like these kids, getting to know some of them a little bit. And
yeah, it's a likable group. It's a very likable team, and I think it's a team that's got a lot of potential, man. I think it's a team that could do something this year. I'm not saying they can win a national title, but I think they could do something.
Yeah, I'm not going to go off on a tangent right now because we'll end up kicking this thing to an hour, and we swore we wouldn't do that. And people love to make fun of us that we never get out when we say we're going to get out, but it would be really cool for there to be a stress-free week. Like, all the kids that are supposed to sign on Wednesday.
God, wouldn't that be nice?
Whatever changes are made, they're made in a way that we're on top of it, and there's just less stress.
It could be one of those weeks. It very well could be one of those weeks. Or it
could be the complete opposite.
We've had a few. I mean, this time last year was just a whirlwind too. So, I mean, I don't think we're going to be reliving that. But, as soon as the season ends, a lot. Yeah, it's a lot, man. There's a lot coming this week. But, hey, that's why you keep it locked to Taro247.com. Come on over to our website. Links in the description below. I guess I was trying to promote the promo, but I guess by the time this comes out, that promo.
Well, the promo ends on the 1st.
Oh, yeah, true. We still have a little bit more time. You are right. We do have a little bit more time. It ends on December 1st, which is, well, that's Monday. Tomorrow, isn't it? There's not 31 Monday. Days in November, are there?
We're running. Yeah, there's 30. So
that too.
Jacob's homework assignments are the calendar, and the map. I've got the map. I know where the map is now, but I need to study the other 50 states. I know where Kentucky and Tennessee are in terms of longitude and latitude now. I do know that. But yeah, I guess by the time this comes out. Jimmy Buffett song?
I think it is. It's
Changes in Latitude.
Yeah, something like that. Get involved in the comments and let us know if that's the wrong title, but it's something like that.
I saw Buffett 3 times, man.
I like some Jimmy Buffett music.
That's one of those shows you go see where there's 18-year-olds and 75-year-olds.
Yeah. Just a very wide net. Very, very wide net.
Tears for Fears was like, you know what? When Kim and I saw The Cure 2 years ago, I was surprised at how many young people were there.
Oh, I can see that being a mixed bag. Yeah, I can see that being a mixed bag.
Yeah, a little counterculture stuff with The Cure. Yeah. Tears for Fears is a mixed bag too.
Good song, man. Everybody Wants to Rule the World. That's a great song. Well, I play it. I do love that song. It's the only song I really know by them. Shame on me. But that's
other ones that you've heard.
There probably are. That's probably true. I just don't know the name.
They have a ton of hits. But I've always been a huge fan of their filler stuff. But Jimmy Buffett, definitely one of those cross sections.
Oh yeah,
just everybody. My late buddy Greg Radigan, who died last year, the day before the JMU game in football.
I remember that. Yeah,
his nickname back in the day was Party Incorporated. He was he was social media before social media. Oh, let's go find a party.
Dude, that might be one of the greatest nicknames I've actually ever heard of.
People, like, whenever someone's parents would go out of town, he'd find out, they would contact him, and he would pay the house like $100 and throw a keg party.
That's fantastic.
And he had a business going, basically throwing keg parties.
Hey, man, good for him, dude. Good for him. That's resourceful right there.
We would go to Dixie Liquor in Georgetown and get a keg, 3 kegs of National Bohemian, Natty Boh, $27.50 a pop, $3 a head, make mint cash, have a keg left over when the cops left and cleared everybody out, and you kill people to stay.
God, that's
Party Incorporated. He used to call Jimmy Buffett Caribbean drunk music.
That's a good way to describe it, actually. That's a good way to describe it.
He had to walk home from a Buffett concert one time. It was kind of a funny story.
At least he walked home, because I'm sure he was
actually the true part of the story, and I God rest his soul. I wish he was here to make sure I'm telling it right, but he was walking alongside the Beltway in the D.C. area, and a Maryland state trooper picked him up and drove him home.
Oh, God, what a lucky guy.
Imagine him just sloughing along at 4 o'clock in the morning after a night watching Buffett and tossing down a few cold ones.
They're like, man, we'll give you a ride.
Mr. State Trooper.
State Trooper was like, man, I'll give you a ride. Thank God you were not behind the wheel right now. We'll give you a ride, man. You saved a life tonight by not being behind the wheel. So it's fantastic.
We should do podcasts where I tell stories about all my old buddies because they're pieces of work. And every day,
I know. I've heard quite a few.
Every one of them had a nickname except Rick. Rick was just Rick.
You could do it too, because I mean, it's it's kind of under the nobody knows who we're talking about. No one put a face to the names. You could come on here and tell some stories. Maybe we'll keep them coming in these as we go off script on the end of these podcasts. I know a lot of people do enjoy when we go off script. I like when we go off script a little bit. Sometimes I just want to go off script, especially when we're covering the football team this year. A lot of times I just rather talk about anything else besides football at times. But that's over now. We'll move on from that season and see if things can get turned around next year. All right, we're getting out of here for real now, AJ. It's been 51 minutes. We got to go. I've been Jacob Turner. He's been Andrew Jones. I need some sleep. He definitely needs some sleep before he travels.
I need to work.
Yeah, that's true. You probably got to work for
right now. As soon as we get off, I'm going to go out and get steps, and it's raining, and it's 48 and raining or whatever. And then I come back.
You like a walk in the rain. I like a walk.
I like it when it's not in the 40s.
Yeah, it's true. That's
I
true.
would rather roll down a mountainside of broken glass than do that when it's cold and rainy at this time.
You'll feel good afterwards, though. You'll feel good afterwards.
Yeah, I will, and I'll be a lot better at my work. But I come back and I've got to go over all the different position groups because Noah and I are going to look at basically roster prognosis for turnover and that kind of thing. So there's a lot to dig into, and I've got a lot of lines out trying to get information about the roster and everything. And some people have not responded, and I need them to respond. Some are very important to respond, so please respond so I can get some information and formulate what we do moving forward.
I got one homework assignment for you, AJ. Very easy. And I think it's probably already been done. So this is probably going to take zero time because it's probably already there. My homework assignment for you: as soon as this pod's done, before you go on the walk, put the headphones in the bag. I'm assuming they're already in the travel bag.
They're in the travel bag.
All right, perfect. 3 things has been a lot.
I gave my wife, this is homework day.
Yes.
So you have your 2 homework assignments.
Got to go study many things. Yep.
Pretty weak that those are your 2 homework assignments.
It's a tough look, but it is what it is.
But you're owning up to it. I respect that.
Hand up accountability.
My wife has one to get me a pair of these that we actually can hook up to the laptop and work, and I can take it on the road with me.
I like that. The Bluetooth is nice. The one that you have has been working great. I know it's been helping out with a lot of the feedback that we get for whatever reason when AJ doesn't use his mic here. It's some laptop issue we've never been able to solve. It'll get solved whenever you buy a new laptop. But I hear you. Bluetooth is a lot easier. 100%.
Yeah, it looks a lot better. It looks pretty weak with that.
I think you kind of look official in the headphones, man. I'll start wearing them if it makes you feel better. We can go headphones.
You would think that it would tell people working courtside that, hey, this guy might be doing a video now because it is 2025. But I even said the other day, well, I'm trying to make a video right here. And they look at me and like, yeah, whatever. And let's be louder.
They ever say anything afterwards?
No. Okay. When I finished, I wanted to say something. But I didn't.
Yeah, you didn't. You bit the tongue, didn't you?
Yeah, there's only one person I've said anything to here recently that I need to say something to. And that was Saturday night. That was Saturday night.
Yeah. And on that note, AJ, we don't need to divulge any more information about that.
No, not going there.
Leave the people on a cliffhanger there. They'll always have to wonder. I wonder what AJ's referencing. Keep them up at night. Might keep them up.
I'm a believer. I'll say this. I'm a believer that you got to bully the bully.
That's a good way to put it. That is a good way to put
it. Because bullies always back down.
Yes, that is a good way to put it. That is a fantastic. That's a good life lesson for everybody watching. That is a fantastic life lesson. No matter if you're 8 years old.
It got us back in the days with Party Incorporated when we would go paint the town. It got us out of potential altercations. You just show no fear and you bully the bully. You belly up.
Belly up, man.
You belly up.
You got to.
And maybe I don't want this because I'd get my butt kicked every time back then.
I hear you on that, man.
But I'm being figurative here, obviously.
Oh, of course. Carolina needs to belly up on Tuesday night as well, and I think that's a perfect way to end this.
Bully the bully. I love using it in sports, in basketball. I thought Carolina, Michigan State, they had to bully the bully some. They did for a while.
Yeah. Just need to do it for 40.
And they weren't having success. It's kind of simple.
Gotta do it 40 minutes, man.
Life is like that too.
Yeah, 100%. Sports and life take a lot of sports lessons and apply it to life. That's one thing that's why I think growing up and playing sports is so important. Yeah.
That's why we talk human nature in sports all the time. Yeah. They go hand in hand.
Oh, God, yeah, it does. There's no doubt about it. There's absolutely no doubt about it, man. I think anybody who played sports at any level knows exactly what we're talking about there. So,
except the 8-foot basket league.
Yeah, that's true.
I think the 8-foot basket league, it doesn't really mirror real life just yet.
No, yeah, it doesn't really work the same, does it? No, you know, you're right. You're absolutely right about that. All right, we've gone way too long on this. T-ball
probably doesn't either.
No, yeah, probably not T-ball. I'll get most other sports. There's probably a few other out there that it might not really.
Third grade and under flag football does?
Probably not. Probably not at that age. Not flag football, at least. I don't know if anything resonates with them.
I think it should be outlawed. Really, put the pads on, guys. Come on.
Yeah. If you're
the lesson a kid could learn is to get
out there and get
around.
Got to get out there and get popped a few times.
Get back up and get popped again.
It's got to get out there and get popped a few times. Yeah.
Greatest lesson a kid can learn.
Builds character, man. It absolutely builds character. All right. We're getting out of here. I promise this time. Make sure you guys get involved in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell too. We'll see y'all next time. Thanks.